check this out, man. I got something that you ain't seen yet.
You haven't shown me something?
Nope. Hide the story from him as long as you can, and we will do our best to try to get her done in as timely a manner as we can with a car like this. Motorcycles, cars, music, three things that I grew up in, and I'm blessed enough to be able to continue to do all three of those things and pay the bills with it.
Counting Cars is over, and the reason is terrifying. Danny the Count Coker and his team at Count's Customs built a reputation for turning rusty relics into automotive masterpieces, capturing the hearts of millions. But behind it all, a shocking discovery came up, so disturbing that the network abruptly shut down the show.
My shop is very unique. We do things differently here. For us, it's all about making them as stylish and beautiful as they can be.
Fans were left in disbelief. Rumors spread like wildfire, and the once celebrated garage became the epicenter of fear and speculation. What exactly was found in the shop? And how could a show that thrived on passion and precision end in such a chilling way? Join us as we reveal the terrifying reason Counting the Cars was shut down.
Danny is back.
Oh my Lord.
Counting Cars is gone. Count's Customs, led by the energetic Danny Coker, enjoyed the spotlight with their popular TV show, Counting Cars. The show hit an unexpected road bump, and it's been over 4 years since the last episode of Counting Cars aired on screens. While the show sits up there with other great TV car shows, it wasn't without some controversies. The challenges that led to the shutdown started when Danny Coker, the host of the show, found his business entangled in some legal trouble. Apparently, a former employee of his tried to pull a terrible scam on a couple, Paul and Jeanette Hurt. According to reports, it was alleged that Scott Jones, an employee at Count's Customs, assured them that the shop could purchase and rebuild a 1967 Ford Mustang Coupe for $50,000. This estimate included $11,000 for acquiring the vehicle in upstate New York and $39,000 for labor and restoration costs. Of course, restoring and upgrading classic cars is what Danny Coker does on the show, but this case was not the same as the others. Apparently, Scott misled the couple into believing their car would be featured on the show. With that, the couple agreed to the terms and paid the full amount, expecting the restoration to be completed by December 2013. Unfortunately, however, in August 2013, they were informed that the History Channel would no longer film the restoration, though the work would proceed as planned. Despite these assurances, the restoration was not completed, and the couple's car never appeared on the show. The Hurts then decided to visit the shop to see the updates on their car, and that was where the trouble began. According to the court file, they visited the shop in October 2013, but found that nothing had been done. In fact, the car was not the 1967 Mustang Coupe that was initially promised, it was a different model. Since Count's Customs could not complete the job on time and had used a different vehicle, the couple instantly demanded a refund, which the shop agreed to. But agreement is one thing, and compliance is another. The refund never came, and all attempts to reach the shop proved abortive. With Count's Customs holding on to the $50,000 and not communicating with the couple, they were forced to file a lawsuit, alleging fraud and breach of contract. No doubt the lawsuit brought negative attention to Count's Customs and raised questions about the business practices depicted on Counting Cars. Although the show became popular for its impressive car rebuilds, situations like this clearly showed that there is a difference between TV and reality, and what viewers saw on screen didn't always match what happened in real life at the shop. However, that wasn't the first time Danny Coker's Counting Cars had been involved in a controversy, and that explains part of the reason why the show went down. But this time, Danny wasn't being sued. He was the one filing the lawsuit. In 2017, a shadow fell over the close-knit family at Count's Customs as they were entangled in another lawsuit. This time, the focus was on a former employee named Joseph Frontiera. Once highly regarded, Joseph stood accused of serious wrongdoing. The accusations were shocking, claiming he had stolen money from the company that had supported him. It was as if Joseph had betrayed their trust, sneaking away with funds meant for the business. Instead of using the money for growth, he allegedly spent it on personal luxuries like a fancy car and trips abroad. But that wasn't all. The lawsuit also accused him of neglecting the company's tax responsibilities, leading to trouble with the IRS. This legal battle put the shop in big trouble. The situation worsened when the IRS fined Counts Customs $18,000 for late tax payments. This fine was traced back to Joseph's failure to handle the company's payroll taxes properly. At that point, Danny had had enough. Without hesitation, he fired Joseph and filed a lawsuit, accusing him of embezzlement, misuse of company funds, and causing financial harm to the business. But Danny didn't stop there. He also sued Randstad, the staffing agency that placed Joseph in the job. Danny alleged that Randstad failed to properly vet Joseph's background before placing him in the role. The scandal was a blow to Danny's reputation. Some fans began to wonder how such a mess had gone unnoticed for so long. It also led to criticism of the shop's internal controls and hiring process. This was the beginning of the fall of Counting Cars. But what exactly is Counting Cars, and how did it get so big?
I'm also going to talk to you about projects that we're building here at Counts Customs from start to finish. You're going to see a lot of cool things.
Counting Cars. Counting Cars is an American reality television series shown on History Channel and produced by Left Field Pictures. The series, which was the third spin-off of Pawn Stars, was filmed in Las Vegas, where it chronicled the daily activities at Counts Customs, an automobile restoration and customization company owned and operated by Danny Coker, also known as the Count, who previously appeared as a recurring expert on Pawn Stars. In a format similar to American Restoration, the series follows Coker and his staff as they restore and modify classic automobiles and motorcycles. The show debuted on August 13, 2012. Became very popular from the first season that aired. Audiences loved seeing old cars being reborn into another style. They just loved the idea of transformation. Soon, Danny and his crew became well-known and famous. Tourists in Las Vegas began stopping by Counts Customs, hoping to meet them or see one of the builds from the show. Fans would troop into the garage day in, day out, just to take pictures with the custom bikes and classic cars. The shop turned into a tourist attraction and business boomed. They got calls from celebrities, car collectors, and even musicians who wanted their own one-of-a-kind ride. Danny didn't just experience success in the Counts Custom. The fame brought more opportunities, and he expanded his brand beyond the garage. He opened Counts Vamped, a rock bar where his band Count 77 performed live. He was also selling merchandise like t-shirts, mugs, and model cars with the Counts Customs logo. His net worth was increasing just as the show's ratings increased. Each season featured bigger builds, riskier purchases, and more emotional moments. There were episodes where Danny would surprise a client with a restored car that had belonged to their late father, or when he'd take on a build that seemed impossible just to make someone smile. Those were the moments that made people cry, laugh, and cheer all at once. His TV debut at the beginning of Counting Cars was his most memorable appearance. The program has a broad audience in 160 nations, including India. In the first episode, Richard Harrison, a friend from Pawn Stars, visited him and gave him a 1968 Mustang Fastback to work on. Aside from appearing on Pawn Stars and his own show, Danny Coker has appeared in a few other programs such as Weekend in Vegas, American Restoration, All You Need to Know, SEMA, and Chris Angel Mind Freak with Kevin Mack. But these guest appearances were also not the reason behind Danny's departure from Counting Cars. The Counting Cars crew, taking up TV with a creative crew, was far from being a walk in the park. To make Counting Cars realistic and a favorite of car lovers, Coker had the help of what many regarded as a multi-talented crew. The most popular of his crew members is Danny's longtime best friend and supporter, Kevin Mack. Since the early years of the series, Danny and Kevin have been as tight as a knot. They are usually together on extended trips, invested in finding potential cars that can be flipped into incredible designs. Over the years, Kevin has served as a backbone for Danny, and, by extension, the show. Kevin has always been on the lookout for whatever Danny missed in a rush, or when he made poor judgment calls, ensuring that the final product met their high standards of quality and craftsmanship. When the show needed someone to step up for intense tasks, Kevin has always been the go-to guy. It does not hurt that he also got to test drive many of the new inventions, as well as the cars they would buy from strangers. Overall, what many would regard as his primary responsibilities are funding, planning, and budgeting. Before they became a risk to take, Kevin ran and approved all increased expenses and material prices. By its fourth and fifth seasons, Counting Cars had become one of History Channel's top-rated shows, with millions of viewers tuning in every week. To understand the impact of the show, let's first understand the person behind it. Who really is Danny Coker, and what part did he play in the show's downfall?
And these cars are challenging. They're challenging for all of us, but especially for Ryan. I know that this Charger is going to be stunning in the end, but the question becomes, is this the Charger that's finally going to win over Ryan?
Who is Danny Coker? Danny Coker, born Daniel Nicholas. Cokers came into the world on January 5, 1964, in Cleveland, Ohio. Growing up in Cleveland, he lived with his parents and sister Kim. During his youth, his family acquired Channel 33, providing him with opportunities to host series like Saturday Fright at the movies. Danny was probably first exposed to cool cars and how they operated when his father and other family members, friends, and relatives worked for Ford Motor Company. Like many people in the world right now, Danny didn't acquire formal training. He learned the fundamentals of auto repair through DIY and making minimal repairs. He discovered his love for working on vehicles, driving and admiring them during this time. Little did he know then that this hobby would be the basis for a successful television career. Another one of Danny's great loves is music, which he inherited from his dad, Danny Coker Sr. Danny found out he had a gift for singing when he was young and joined his family band. Danny's popularity did not rise until his first on-screen appearance in Pawn Stars, a television series that revolves around Rick Harrison and his family-owned shop on the Las Vegas Strip. Since then, Danny has been in series such as The Eagle Has Landed and Counts 77. He owns and operates Count Customs, a custom shop that produces some of the sickest restore mods. However, Danny left the show. As mentioned before, Danny Coker and Counts Custom faced legal issues in 2017 when they filed a lawsuit against a former employee of Counts Custom, alleging that he had embezzled $75,000 from the company for personal use. But that's not the reason why Danny Coker left Counting Cars. The reality TV star is well known for his incredible collection of automobiles and motorcycles. In a chat with Christopher Lawrence of the Review Journal, Danny revealed that he has 58 cars and around 70 motorcycles. Among the gems in his garage are classics like the 1962 Volkswagen Man Gear, a sleek 1965 Cadillac Fleetwood Broom, a 1970 Coronet, a stylish 1973 Buick Riviera, a classic 1979 Chevrolet Camaro, Z28, and a stunning 1972 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. But wait, there's more. Danny has his sights set on some dream cars too, with the elusive 1972 Lamborghini Miura SV at the top of his list. Money has never really been a problem for Danny, but finding this rare gem is another story. As of 2019, Danny's car count had soared over 100, making his collection exceptional. Among the highlights are the Joe 4 dropping 1966 AC Cobra valued at approximately $2 million today, and a sentimental 1966 Mustang GT 350, a gift from his dad that sparked his lifelong passion for cars. When asked about his obsession with collecting vehicles, Danny jokingly admitted to the Globe and Mail, saying that he was addicted and that perhaps he needed an intervention. With an assortment ranging from high-performance exotics to classic sports cars and hot rods, it's clear that Danny's love for cars knows no bounds. However, beyond his impressive collection and his immense love for cars, fans were left wondering about what actually happened to Danny Koker from Counting Cars. Danny Koker's journey into the world of automobiles began in his teenage years when he acquired a beat-up car. His passion for car maintenance nurtured since youth laid the foundation for the success of Count's Customs. This success opened doors for him to appear on popular shows like Porn Star Stars and American Restoration, both airing on the History Channel, as well as his own spin-off Counting Cars. With 10 seasons, Counting Cars was a massive hit for the network, and it was clear that Koker was passionate about every automobile that appeared in the show. With Count's Customs having the reputation of being one of the most well-known car customization and restoration businesses in the field, one would assume Danny would have received considerable mechanical training and education. Contrary to popular belief, in an interview with American Profile, Danny Koker revealed that his formal education was limited to high school, where he primarily focused on standard shop and automotive class. Aside from that, it was as simple as getting your hands dirty disassembling things to discover how they work, with the next step being to figure out how to put them back together. Given that Danny Koker is essentially self-taught in automotive customization and restoration, it is evident how much effort and commitment he has put into his trade. Koker is a highly proud, self-made man, and Count Customs' success is an authentic tribute. Fans will believe that Danny Koker can restore anything, and many will assume he could accomplish it with his eyes closed. A fan once questioned him about the one vehicle he could not rebuild. Koker remembered seeing an early to mid-1960s Ford Crane at an auction. He purchased it because it was not that expensive, and he believed it would be fun to fix up. However, to his dismay, Koker discovered that the Ranero was not as valuable or entertaining to fix, and returned the vehicle to Count's Customs. It was discovered during the examination that the automobile was completely composed of rust and was in terrible condition. Koker said that everything could be restored, and if he had $1 billion in an old Ford Falcon Crane, he could have fixed it. However, the car would have likely been useless, even if he had taken that action. Never wanting to pass up an opportunity, Koker converted the vehicle into a Ford Ranchero pool table at a Las Vegas hotel, rather than into a drivable automobile. Although Danny Koker developed an early addiction to motorcycles and autos, it was his first car, a 1979 Camaro Z28, that set him on the path of restoration and personalization. Even though the Camaro was Koker's first vehicle, he decided to disassemble the entire car and personalize it from front to rear. Koker converted the Camaro into a street racing Can-Am vehicle. Nostalgia be damned, Koker, who doesn't want to discard memories entirely, still owns the car displayed with pride in Count Customs. The Camaro needs another restoration because Koker hasn't modified it in a long time, and it has been sitting in the shop for years. Danny Koker must have a special place in his heart for the 1979 Camaro Z28 to remain in his extensive collection even after all these years. So back to the question, what really happened to the automobile genius?
You wanted not only a 68 Dodge Charger, but you wanted one that was highly updated while paying respect to the original car.
Yep.
What actually happened to Danny Koker? Danny Koker pleaded not guilty to a misdemeanor charge in 2021, for illegally stealing a 2008 Cadillac Escalade from a tow yard. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation. This happened in November of 2019 after an automobile accident when the owner, owing to financial difficulties, abandoned the vehicle at the tow yard. Because the owner was having trouble getting the car back, they gave the tow yard permission to sell it. But the owner's friend Danny stepped in and arranged to have the Cadillac towed to his repair business so he could fix it and give it back. Danny broke the law in Nevada by taking a car out of a tow yard without the owner's permission or a warrant. Danny reached a plea agreement with prosecutors, which resulted in a reduced misdemeanor conviction after initially facing grand larceny auto charges, a felony carrying a possible jail sentence of 10 years. Danny had to do 80 hours of community service and pay the tow yard $25,000. That was the deal. During his probationary term, he was also prohibited from owning or carrying guns. In addition, just a year before that, another legal battle with 2 former employees started. Coker alleged that they had embezzled funds from Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill, claiming to have stolen from the bar's safe, tampered with financial documents, and transferred money to their personal accounts. The complaint demanded $376,000 in damages. The case escalated into a criminal inquiry which resulted in the search and seizure of the residences of the departing workers. The 2 departing workers were apprehended and returned to Nevada in December 2019 after their arrest for embezzlement and theft. Danny Coker was arrested in March the following year after police found evidence linking him to the Cadillac incident during their investigation. Danny was originally facing a criminal charge, but his attorney successfully proved that his client was acting in good faith by assisting a buddy in need, resulting in a reduced charge and a probationary term. The legal issues that Danny Coker has been facing have greatly impacted both his personal and professional life. In addition to the financial losses and legal consequences, his reputation has also taken a hit. Danny has been the target of criticism and outrage as a result of the intense scrutiny his public persona has brought from the media, fans, and the automotive community. Despite the legal issues, Danny has promised to make amends and move on. But that wasn't the end of his story. In 2022, he shocked everyone by leaving the show he was famous for. People wondered why he left, and they soon found out it was because he was seriously ill. He had pneumonia, which made it hard for him to breathe, and a nasty infection in his heart. It seemed like he would not make it, but Danny didn't give up. He fought hard and made it through. It was a long and challenging road to recovery, but Danny returned more vital than ever. He returned to his shop Count's Customs, where he's the boss and main mechanic. Even though Danny is not on TV as much anymore, he is still the heart and soul of Count's Customs. Danny puts his heart into every car in the shop, and his passion shines through in his work. But Danny's talents don't end with his mastery of vehicles. Coker, known for his love of music, has returned to his roots with his band Counts 77. The band, rocking a 70s metal vibe, was formed about 10 years ago and is still going strong. Coker's wife, Corey, also gets in on the action by managing their Bar Counts Vamped Rock Bar in Las Vegas. It seems Coker enjoys balancing his passions for music, family, and friends, along with his interest in cool vintage cars. He's living the Vegas life to the fullest. So, what is life like for Danny outside of automobiles? Danny Coker, Beyond Cars. Outside the world of cars and television, Danny lives a quiet and committed life with his wife, Corey Coker. They have been together for more than 15 years and got married in 2015 before becoming involved in the business side of things. She earned a degree in broadcasting and worked as a production coordinator at a local television station. She also had a passion for music and performed in a few bands in her earlier years. However, in 2018, a rumor spread online that Corey Coker had died in a car accident. Since she is the wife of a popular figure, The story quickly gained traction across social media, with many fans shocked and saddened by the news. To make matters worse, neither Danny nor his management made a public statement to address the news. Eventually, some credible sources disclosed that Corey had not been in any accident and that she was in good health. Apparently, there was a mix-up with a different woman named Corey Coker, who had died in a fatal car crash. No doubt the rumor may have caused confusion at the time, but Corey has continued to live her life privately and stay focused on her work. Today, she helps manage several of the couple's businesses, including Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill, where she serves as the entertainment director. Since the conclusion of Counting Cars in 2021, Danny has remained active in the automotive and entertainment industries. He continues to operate Count's Customs, his renowned auto restoration and customization shop in Las Vegas. The shop continues to take on projects ranging from vintage classics to wild custom-built rides. Many fans of the show still visit the shop, and Danny often takes time to meet them when he is around. Away from wrenching, Danny is also into music. He is the frontman of Count 77, a rock band that has released original tracks and continues to perform live across the country. The Vegas-based hard rock band released their debut album with Shrapnel Records on April 29, 2014. The twin guitar duo of John Zito and Stoney Curtis, the latter of whom has an extensive following as a recording and touring blues musician, are the driving force behind Count's 77, which has its roots in 1970s hard rock, with musical roots ranging from Thin Lizzy to Foghat, the Allman Brothers, and Led Zeppelin. Count's 77 was positioned to be a leader in the new classic rock renaissance, with a sound evocative of one of the greatest musical eras of all time. Coker, Count 77's dynamic frontman, was singing long before he rose to international fame. He splits his time between his passion for music and his automotive love. Count 77 has performed for thousands at motorcycle rallies and large-scale business events. It is quickly gaining exposure and being requested to headline performances in Colorado, Texas, Mississippi, Chicago, and other places. Over the years, the Count's 77 musicians have appeared on several TV shows. Counting Cars provided Coker with a platform that put him in front of millions of viewers each week and allowed the band to be featured on the show, with admirers across the United States, Canada, South Africa, and Europe, including the United Kingdom, Poland, Romania, Spain, Germany, Japan, Israel, and South America. Count 77's fan base is expanding into new areas. His love for classic rock is also reflected in his other business, Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill. The bar has become a go-to venue for rock shows in Las Vegas, hosting both local acts and well-known bands. Danny also co-owns Count's Tattoo Company, a custom tattoo shop that expands the Coker family brand. While he isn't a tattoo artist himself, the business is a solid addition to his growing list of investments. It attracts both fans of the show and locals looking for high-quality custom ink in a rock-inspired setting. Aside from all these, Danny also runs a Vegas tour experience that lets guests see some of his favorite spots in the city. The tour is a fun outing for gearheads and anyone who followed his show. As part of the tour, each guest gets a $20 voucher to use at the Count's Customs gift shop. The tour starts at Treasure Island, where visitors hop on a custom minibus. One of the stops is the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign, a popular photo spot since 1959. There, guests can step out, take pictures, and enjoy the view. The tour also visits places linked to Danny's work and life, giving fans a glimpse into his story and connection to the city. So, basically, Danny is still doing what he loves, restoring cars, playing music, and running businesses that reflect who he is. The end of Counting Cars didn't slow him down. It simply gave him more time to focus on the things he cared about most. With a strong brand, loyal fan base, and a city like Las Vegas behind him, Danny continues to thrive. Before Counting Cars shut down, it had a tremendous impact. Let's look at the people that made it possible. The faces behind the show. At the heart of it all is Danny the Count Coker himself, the man who turned Count's Customs into a legendary garage of dreams. This shop isn't just a place for repairs, it's where classic cars and motorcycles are reborn, where rust meets polish and imagination meets steel. The name Count traces back to Danny's early days as part owner of local station KFBT, where he hosted the weekly B-movie showcase Saturday Fright at the Movies as Count Cool Rider. Growing up between Cleveland and Detroit in a family of Ford Motor Company workers, Danny became a self-taught mechanic, learning by hands-on tinkering and countless hours in the garage. Beyond the grease and wrenches, Danny is the frontman of Las Vegas hard rock band Count's 77, proving his passions extend from engines to electric guitars. Then there's Scott Jones, once the manager and bookkeeper of Count's Customs. But you'll remember him for the controversy, the scam that shook the shop early on. Scott left between seasons 2 and 3, relocating to Tennessee after the birth of his son, leaving only a brief mention in the 3rd season premiere. His absence was felt, but the legacy of that incident lingered, reminding viewers that behind every successful garage, there's drama waiting in the shadows. Kevin Mack is Danny's right-hand man and best friend for the past 20 years by the series premiere. Michael Horny Mike Henry is an airbrush artist. Rolly Sabo is the shop's detailer, responsible for cleaning and polishing all the vehicles on which Count's Customs works. After season 6, Rolly left Count's Customs on good terms. He remains in Las Vegas, where he has opened his own detailing shop, Rock and Rolly Custom Detailing. Shannon Eichow was the bike shop manager and lead builder whom Danny lauds for his fabrication and engineering skills, referring to him as the #1 in the bike shop. Ryan Evans was the head painter and graphic artist, began working with Shannon in the bike shop, is now Danny's main man when it comes to custom paint. Big Ryan was Danny's project scout, parts expert, and picker, with over 15 years of experience. Harry Grandpa Rome Sr. was an employee who does bodywork at the shop. Joseph Doc Dugan integrates technology in working with the cars or adding advanced technological features with the classics. George is a mechanic who has worked at the shop for years. Together, this crew formed the beating heart of Count's Customs. Would the show had continued if not for the controversies? And what do you think about Danny's current life? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.